All right. You're listening to the Racer to Racer podcast. I'm your co-host, Aaron McAtee. Our other co-host, you may have seen him walking out of a Great Clips. You've probably seen him at a dirt track. He's the man, the myth, the legend, Scott Bowie.
Hey Aaron, how you doing,
I'm
bud?
well. How are you?
I'm really good. So, first time,
I
new
I guess
podcast.
we're doing this for real.
It seems like we're doing it for real. I just want to say thank you for just putting this together and just kind of we discussed it. I know you have worked on some other podcasts, and I just want to say thanks for kind of helping me. You kind of had the same kind of vision as I did,
Yeah, absolutely.
and I just felt like. This, I'm so excited to do this. We're going to be able to talk to current racers, past racers, mechanics. I mean, just get their stories, man. And that's what I live for, is just hearing these people's stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you said, your resources, my resources. You got kind of got more of a background of dirt racing, sprints, midgets, stuff like
Absolutely.
that, and I'm more into like IndyCar stuff. So kind of a mixture of both worlds, and there's going to be a lot of different variety here. So we'll just jump straight in. Kind of let's just do kind of like an introduction thing. So I guess just talk a little bit about how you got into racing, what you like about it, and yeah, we'll just start with that.
I was born into it. My dad was racer, and he just, it's kind of, for some people, it's like a family thing. You just do it for generations, and you just it's becomes what you know, and it becomes the life you live, and it becomes the people you know, and so he worked for he and Bob Winnie had a midget together. From that, he started working with Carl Gelhausen, and Carl, for people who don't know, owned race cars from the 50s to 79, and had many numerous race car drivers drive for him, some very famous, and then had his son drive for him, Spike.
Hmm.
And from that, and then my brother started racing, and they did that. And I finally got a chance to kind of work on the midget, the family midget, and from that, I eventually kind of owned a car along with my brother and sister, and then kind of on my own. And then I've had a speed parts business, and now I get to talk about it. And we're going to be able to talk about some of the stories and some of the experiences, and hopefully to many of the people I've met along the way. And there's so many people that maybe people have barely heard of, or heard stories of it, or maybe they don't know, that just have amazing stories
Right.
that I'm hoping we're able to get out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I thought was interesting, you actually said you've thought about doing a podcast for a while. You've at least had the idea.
I did. It's so funny. I've got a good friend of mine who years ago told me I should do a podcast. And I didn't really know what podcasts were. This was a long time ago. And he was always on me. He's like, you should do it. And then I started seeing other people doing it, and I watched a lot on YouTube. And then the opportunity just kind of came along. It's not something I really wanted to do by myself,
Hmm.
because I like playing back and forth off people and having that conversation. And we got to know each other, and we did the Chili Bowl broadcast. Um, and from there, it's just like, everything kind of clicked, and it just, we had such a good time. We did 3 hours, and we had special guests on, and we just had such a good time. And you and I were talking afterwards, and we're like, man, we kind of had, we realized we sort of had the same ideas and the goals, and it just seemed like a natural fit. And I think it's kind of those deals where, for me at least, it's just the right time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with the pandemic and everything, everything's kind of going towards more like the virtual world. So I guess we're kind of fitting the bill and kind of sticking with the current trends with all that.
Right. Yeah. Well, of course, me personally, as always, I'm always a little late to the party. I'm never the first one to the
I've
party.
noticed.
But yeah, no, I'm never the first one to the party. But like I said, it just took finding the right situation, and this was what I felt like the right situation. You know, you're a young man who really enjoys the sport, all of the sport, you know, and you have energy and you have ambition, and I thought, man, this is something we can have fun with. You know, this is, you know, I'm a little older, and I don't necessarily am not the go getter I once was, but you are, and I just felt like, man, this seems right. You know, this seems like a good fit. And Aaron's a great guy, and his family are great people. And I thought, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we'll definitely have fun with it. So I'll go into a quick intro about myself. So, um, I mean, I've been around racing, definitely not in the same capacity you have, but I've been around racing pretty much as a fan since I mean, I got photos of, I was like 4 years old in like the Pennzoil car and Scott Goodyear car, I think it was. So I've been going to the track since I was, 3 and 4. And actually, I was at the 1992 Indy 500 because my mother was pregnant with me. So technically, I was there.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, and see, when you say the Pennzoil car, I think of Johnny Rutherford.
Right, right, exactly.
You know, so it just always shows you kind of the age,
Hmm.
right? And then there's people who think of Haleo, you
Yeah,
know,
it's
and
true.
it's just, and that's been a really great partnership, I think, for IndyCar over the years. The Yellow Submarines, the different owners and sponsors, you know, and I should say sponsors, but different owners and drivers. But boy, the paint schemes are pretty similar, and it's a thing that the fans can really still um, look forward to seeing, you know, and I think that's really great. And in fact, I think you got the helmet right behind you, don't you?
Yep. Yes, I do.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of how I got into racing because my dad's been going out to the track since he was a little kid too. I mean, he's been to every single 500 since I want to say the 70s or 80s. And I'm sure he'll listen to this and he'll send me a text to correct me,
Oh, I'm sure.
especially now. But he used to like go out at high school, like they get out early on like Fridays, and him and his buddy Mike used to go out, and they still go out, and that's kind of the fun thing with racing is you kind of get these these friendships and these people kind of following traditions, and I don't know if there's really a lot of other sports like that.
Well, I think, for some people, the Green Bay Packers, I think, really is that way. And I think for others, the Cubs or the Cardinals or the Red Sox, and of course, the Boston Celtics, these are all legendary
Hmm.
teams and with legendary players and places. But boy, honor racing's a really interesting thing because there's so many levels of the sport, and there are people that you've never heard of, or maybe I haven't heard of, that um, are huge heroes in their area, and they're big time winners in the in the version of the sport they've chosen to do, and and I think that's what makes it so special. Because if you got a good racing area like Indiana, you can get heroes like your Dave Darlings
Hmm.
or John Stambros or Tony Elliott. At one time, unfortunately Tony's gone today, but he was a big hero, or Bob Kinzer, and the names go on and on, right? But auto racing just really provides average people a chance to really kind of be something more than just an average person, at least for 2 or 3 nights a week,
Yeah.
right? And but when we start talking about the upper end of the sport, your AJs and Marios and that, I mean they've been beloved for 50 plus years.
and
So the auto racing just has this loyalty and this fan base that's truly
And
amazing,
I think
I
one thing
think.
that really helps with the fan base is really, how close you can get to the cars, the drivers.
I agree.
I mean, if we were doing this about, NBA or NFL, we wouldn't be able to interview some of the people that we're going to be able to interview doing this. I mean, that's
Yeah,
just bottom
absolutely.
line. And that's really, there's not many sports you can actually go and like get that close to like the drivers. Like I said, like walk up to Mario Andretti and he's cool, take a photo with you, sign an autograph. I mean, you can't do that with like Michael Jordan. So, and
Right.
that's really the big thing with racing, I think. So yeah, so like I said, me and my dad go to races every single year. Um, and I just got to the point where I actually went to school for graphic design. I originally was going for motorsports engineering, and I just decided engineering was not my thing. But I still wanted to be involved with racing in some capacity. So I guess it's been about a year and a half now. I started a t-shirt brand with my buddy Jacob that I actually went to high school with. We were in actually freshman like biology together, I think. But anyway, but yeah, so I had, kind of had the idea. Like I said, I went to school for graphic design. Always kind of been interested in like the whole, like clothing design stuff like that. So I thought of, kind of filling a niche that really wasn't there. And to me, it was really like, kind of 90s inspired racing clothing. Um, and so
Right.
we came up with the name of Race 92. And kind of our motto is Race 92 is a vintage inspired racing apparel brand specializing in celebrating vintage race culture and adapting to motorsports today. So it's a lot of stuff that's 90s inspired. And we actually have some deals with some notable people in racing. We have a line with Bobby Unser. We got permission from him. I'm actually wearing a shirt from our Roberto Guerrero collection.
Roberto. Yeah. How about that guy, man? Whew. Well, you talk about fast.
Yeah,
No, that guy was fast.
had a little bit of bad luck here and there, but great driver.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. He was. What was his first three 500s? Were
I mean, he really should have won. He really should have won about two or three 500s.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you've talked to him. I talked to him once. From all accounts, incredible guy. Just a very warm and good dude. So, yeah, I think that's awesome. We do that with him, and then you do some. You said with Bobby, and then who? You've got a few others, right?
Well, David Land. We can't forget about David
Oh,
Land.
David Land,
How can we forget
the
about David Land?
the man, David Land. That's right.
But yeah, so we have a deal with him, and for those who don't know, I mean, most people know who David Lane is if
Yeah.
you're in indie racing. But basically, he is a YouTube guy who just kind of covers all the recent news and rumors for the 500. I know he's pretty busy now with all the speculation about fans in May.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. He's got his finger on the pulse. I think
Yep.
it's safe to say.
But
Man,
yeah,
big weekend. Speaking of IndyCar, man, big weekend for IndyCar. Now I realize that people may not watch this until after the race, but the first race of the year is coming up
hmm
this weekend.
yep. And I think there's a lot of storylines like Jimmy Johnson.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
I mean, there's like Alex Palooza and the Ganassi car now. There's a lot of
a lot of great
off-season
stories.
changes. Yeah,
Yeah, a
so
lot of
that'll
great
definitely
stories.
be interested to see. But as I was saying with Race 92, we really wanted. I really wanted to be established as like a lifestyle brand. So there's a lot of T-shirt companies that
Yeah,
just do like I call it like the Bob Ross T-shirt companies, like the ones you see where they just have like Bob Ross on a shirt. They don't have like a meaning behind it or a purpose.
right.
And I really wanted to have a purpose to really like kind of have a lifestyle. And part of having that lifestyle is doing things like podcasts and creating content to kind of get
I agree.
people
Yeah, and I think
um,
I think this
interested.
will be a great outlet for
hmm
it. I mean, hopefully we get hopefully people find this entertaining and informational and really enjoy listening to us and they can see some of your work because I've seen some of your work and it's really great stuff. It's funny. For people like color, a lot of it's very colorful. Um, so it's I really think that you are fitting a niche. And one thing I like too is, and I'm not going to get to nuts and bolts of your business, but you help expose maybe some drivers that aren't the super popular drivers,
hmm
and I think that's great too. I think it's great for anybody who's laid it on the line, get some respect. You know.
Yep, and there's there's a lot of stuff that we're kind of working on behind the scenes for different sponsorships and stuff. So, and that's kind of the beauty of kind of creating a brand or a company where you really kind of have the creativity, or like a you really kind of have, it's kind of like an artist. You have like a blank canvas and you can just kind of do whatever you see fit. And that's kind of, if you have a job, you usually have to do what your boss says or whatever. And with this,
Right.
you have a lot more
Well,
creativity and
yeah,
take it the direction
yeah,
you want.
absolutely. Yeah, and like you said, it's just that blank canvas, um, and that like I'm not artistic, but I think it's really great to hear, to see somebody's take on something.
Hmm.
Or like I always think it's so amazing. Always, Robin likes to go to Disney. We go to Disney, and I always tell people, I said, what always amazes me about Disney is when I walk through Disney, everybody has to remember that that place was created out of a man's mind, and he literally drew, just a cartoon artist, and he found something that caught, and his brother and him built it. It's really an amazing story, and not to go down the road with Disney, but I just think it's amazing. Like people can carve out their own places,
Hmm.
like you're doing with Race 92, and then I know some of the things that you're thinking about and that your partner's thinking about. And I just, man, I really hope this helps promote you guys, and I'm glad to be a very small part of it, but to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we talked a little bit about introduction. So kind of more about, really what the Racer to Racer podcast is going to be all about. So really, kind of like we've mentioned already, we're basically going to do interviews with people that have been involved with racing in some capacity. And just to be clear, the term racer does not necessarily mean driver.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I'll tell anybody, like I said, I grew up in a racing family. And I would tell anybody that the mothers of this sports, of the drivers and the wives of the mechanics and the wives of the
Hmm.
drivers, some of them are the most hardcore racers I've ever met because they do whatever it takes to get to the next race. And that's just a small example. I watched my mom do raise us kids, and dad's work on the race cars and they get everything ready. And so he could get some sleep. I'd see a woman who maybe had 4 hours of sleep hop in and drive the truck and trailer with us sleeping in the back, you know, 5, 6 hours to get to the racetrack so we can get there. And she's not the only one. There's been hundreds, if not thousands, of women who've done it. So to me, racers is a person who it's just that person who's dedicated, that person who puts in that effort to
Yeah.
get to the tracks each week.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, we're going to focus really on the people that are involved with racing. So we'll obviously have some drivers. We're going to definitely have some Indy 500 guys. I know you got some, dirt guys, some people
Yep.
involved with team owners that are involved with, sprint cars, stuff like that. So it'd
Yep.
be really, kind of cool for me to learn about stuff that I may not know a lot about, and then I'm sure they'll be the same for you as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm really anxious. You told me some of the guests that you're hoping to get,
Hmm.
and I'm really interested in hearing these people's stories because there's some that I really didn't know much about,
Right.
and I think it's going to be just great stories. And these are going to be names. Some of these names are names that people have heard of, and some of them aren't going to be names that people have heard of. But I think they're going to be people that other people find interesting.
And we're definitely going to try to hit people kind of that are that have been around for a long time. We're also going to hit some people that are more of up and comers. Um,
That's right.
so and that'll
Absolutely.
be kind of the cool thing. And we'll read some like historical things, and maybe talk to some of these people about different you know historical events. I know we talked about a couple different things already of people we could interview about kind of historical things that a lot of people may not know a lot about, and maybe we can kind of dig up a
Right.
little bit about it.
And I'm also hoping that once we kind of get this going and we have time to do some research in that, maybe have shows that are dedicated to maybe a racer or an owner or someone that's not here today, but we can get the voice of their peers or their competitors or something of that nature to really speak on them. And I know that's something else we've talked about is like we're kind of hoping our guests, if they want, they can speak on possibly another racer, of their choice.
Right.
Someone in racing, it could be, it could be anybody from their father or a hero driver or the guy at the go-kart shop who gave him $100 worth of free stuff to keep going. Because they're, those people are all very important.
Hmm.
And I'm just really so happy to have this chance to hear these stories.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we just kind of want to do a quick little introduction episode just to kind of give people an idea of what we're going to be
Yeah.
about before we actually go live with it. And just to kind of be clear, we will be so all these will be broadcasted on, or I should say, uploaded to YouTube. And then also we will be on pretty much all of the podcast platforms. We'll be using a hosting site called Anchor FM. And the nice thing with that is it'll broadcast us to Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I mean, you name it, we'll pretty much be on there. So we'll be easy to find. I'll have all the links in the video description and also in the podcast description as well. And then we'll be posting content as we're doing this on the Race 92 social media platform. So Race 92 is considered a sponsor, but we're going to help kind of cross promote each other.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's awesome. I really do. I'm glad to be a part of it. And I want to say a special thank you to the guys in AMG for doing our theme music. Although we don't hear the theme music right now because as we're doing the show, but when the show will be uploaded, you'll have a beginning theme music and the guys from AMG. I just gotta say thanks. It was very nice of them to do. So
Well, I guess until next time, I hope you can make it to a Great Clips.
yeah, yeah, I will have to get my hair cut. It is, and I realize that, like I said at the Chili Bowl broadcast, that's going to make some people sad that I'm losing my locks, but I will have to get it cut at some point. My COVID hair has about outlived its usage. Um, Plus, the month of May got a lot of kind of family stuff coming up. I can't be going around looking like this, so.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. And we will be back with a new episode very soon, actually interviewing someone. So I think we got someone
That's
in
right.
mind or someone lined up for the first one. So looking forward to that.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll,
I'm very excited. Yeah, yeah. I know. We've got 2 or 3 people lined up, and then I think a couple of people they'll be real. They may not, like I said, know much about them, but I think they're going to find them extremely interesting, and I'm just excited to get this started. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be fun.
yep. And everyone, bear with us if we run into any kind of audio issues, technology issues, because we're kind of learning as we go too. So.
Right. I don't even have the motorsports podcasting dojo set up yet. I got to use my little office here.
I always thought you
So
had the face for radio.
I do. And I've got a voice for miming.
All right, well, before we go way off topic here, we'll see everyone soon.
See everybody soon. Everyone take care.